Oke, record dulu. Nah, baru di share screen. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Is it big enough? Or enough? You can see the words on my screen.
Yes.
So today we are going to talk about language choice in multilingual communities. There are several examples from the PDF that Miss truly shared to us. So let's see the first example. Tria, Melenia, can you read the example number 1, please?
Okay. Yes. Example 1. Halala is 16 years old. He lives in Bukavu, an African city in the east of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, there with a population of about 240,000. It's a multicultural, multilingual city with more people coming and going for work and business reasons than people who live there permanently. Over 40 groups speaking different languages can be found in the city. Halala, like many of his friends, is unemployed. He spends his days roaming the streets, stopping off periodically at regular meeting places in the marketplace, in the park, or at a friend's place. During a normal day, he uses at least 3 different varieties or clothes, and sometimes more.
Okay, thank you, Mel. So we know that Kalala lives in Bukavu, an African city. And how many languages that he learned? How many languages? So Kalala speaks an informal style of Shi, his own language, tribal language. And the second one is standard Zairin, local Swahili or Kingwana. The third is how to pronounce it? Indupil, right? Yeah. The fourth is standard Zairian. Okay. So from this, have you read the full of this PDF file?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
let me explain why he used this 4 language based on my summary, okay, and based on this PDF. So first is standard Zarian. We can find here. He learned standard Zarian Swahili at school, but the local market variety is a little different. It has its own distinct linguistic features and even its own name, Kingwana. So Kingwana, I think Kingwana is the other name of Zairian Swahili, standard Zairian Swahili language. So he used Kingwana to younger children and to adults he meets in the street, as well as to people in the market. So only he used this language, Kingwana, for the younger and people in the marketplace. So that is the first reason. The second reason is standard Syrian. Oh, so Kingwana and standard Zairian is a different thing. So the first is standard Zairian. It's used when Kalala wants to communicate with people from a different tribal group. He used the lingua franca of the area. And then the second one is King Wana, used when Kalala talks to younger children and to adults he meets in the streets, as well as to people in the market. And the third is, I put this Linglala language, but Kalala can speak and cannot understand the language, but he listened to pop music in Linglala, this Linglala language. He listened music in Linglala language. And the fourth is Indubil. Where is Indubil? He spent most of his time with his friends, so he used another variety of gold called Indubil. Indubil, this is a variety which is used among the young people in Bukavu, regardless of their ethnic background or tribal affiliations. It is used like in group slang between young people in monolingual communities. Indubil is based on Swahili, but it has developed into a distinct variety or code by drawing on language like French, English, and Italian. All languages which can be read or heard in the multilingual city of Bukavu. And the last language that he learned is Shi. Shi is his tribal language. I think it's a traditional language, his race language. So he used Shi language at home with his family, and he's familiar with the formal Shi used for weddings and funerals. He used informal Shi in the marketplace when he deals with vendors from his own ethnic group. So Shi used when Kalala talk with the same ethnic group. You understand? Okay, so from the first example, do you have any troubles or you want to explain more about the example one? Anybody? The word wizard, have you got something from the example one? Any difficulties word? No? No difficulties from the example one? No.
No.
Okay. Okay. So from the example one, there are many factors that influence people to use multi-language. The first one is age, and second one is degree of politeness. The third is the status. The fourth, the participant. The fifth is the domain. Do you know why these 5 factors can influence people to use multi-language? You know why? Why? So, because this is about a multi-language or bilingual language, so I will explain to you in my bilingual language. I mean Indonesian. Okay? Jadi, for the age, we know that King Wana used when talks to younger children and to adults he meets in the streets, as well as people in the market, right? Jadi usia itu berpengaruh dalam penggunaan bahasa. Jadi Kalala menggunakan bahasa Kingwana kepada orang yang lebih muda dan mungkin juga lebih tua ketika mereka bertemu di jalanan. Mungkin karena tidak begitu kenal, jadi menggunakan bahasa yang Kingwana yang formal. I think it's a formal language, right? Kemudian ada degree of politeness. Seperti yang kita ketahui di bahasa She is tribal language. There are informal and formal language that he use. So the formal language, he use it for wedding and funerals. Jadi di acara-acara yang butuh percakapan penting, formal dengan degree of politeness yang tinggi, dia menggunakan formal she. And then for the informal, it's a normal conversation with his own ethnic group. Mungkin sebaya atau percakapan biasa yang tidak membutuhkan percakapan yang begitu formal. Jadi ya biasa kayak teman biasa gitu ngobrolnya. Jadi dia menggunakan she, informal she. Okay. Then about the status, do you know why the status influenced people? In this case, in example 1, anybody can explain? Okay, so from this illustrates the possibilities for communication when Kalala wanted to talk to a soldier who had recently arrived in Bukavu with his unit. Since he and his addressee share only one code or variety, standard Swahili, there is not much choice if he wants to communicate referential content as opposed to, say, insult, abuse, or admiration, where any variety could convey the effective message. So the status influence people to talk in their, I think it's formal language, in a formal language. Jadi Kalala menggunakan bahasa yang formal, satu bahasa aja yang emang semua orang mengetahui. So he used standard Swahili to talk with the soldier. And then the fourth is the participants also can influence people to use multi-language. We know that Kalala used Indo-Bil language, right? So this Indo-Bil language, this is a variety which is used among the young people. Kayak teman-teman sebaya, mungkin kita menggunakan bahasa yang slow, kalem, with slang, right? Jadi nggak terlalu baku dengan bahasa formal. But this is an informal language that we use among friends. Gitu. That is the participant, and the fifth is the domain. So the domain used when like this. Wait. I use Kingwana to younger children and to adults he meets in the streets, as well as to people in the marketplace. So when he talked to the shop owner in the marketplace, he could use King Wana to talk with him. So it's kind of domain when he talked to the shopkeeper, he requests something, so he talked in King Wana language. Okay, that's all for the example 1. Anyone want to ask, or it is unclear? Can you hear me, guys?
Yes. So Alfa, I want to ask about Inwana because I thought Inwana is informal in my journal as a work wizard. So what do you think? It's informal or formal?
Okay, I think it can be both. King Wana, because when we talk to younger children, it can be informal, but when we talk to adults, if you want to be polite, you can talk in formal language, King Wana formal language, and as well as to people in the market. If you want to be polite, so you talk in formal language. Okay, is it clear?
Yeah, thank you, Alfa.
Okay, thank you, Email, for your question. Next, the example number 2. Oh, we should answer this question. There are many degrees of knowing a language. This table 2.1 is a simplification since it does not take account of how well Kalala and his addressee know any particular variety. Consider how well you know a language other than your mother tongue. How will you rate your knowledge? What factors are relevant to your assessment? Do this include social factor? So guys, what do you think about this exercise 1? Point A. How would you rate your knowledge about this? Maybe your English level, English knowledge. Olvie, would you rate your English knowledge from 1 to 10? Is it an 8 or 7 or 9?
I think 7.
7? Why?
Because when I find some new vocabularies or in the story or in reading section, sometimes I don't get it the definition or what it means in my mother language, in bahasa language, like that.
Okay, that's good. So, do this include social factors? Jadi, apakah lingkungan sekitarmu juga mempengaruhi dalam peralihan bahasamu menggunakan bahasa Inggris?
I think yes, because in my social life, usually we use bahasa, right? And we use English in our class, like in university or when we do our assignment, like that.
Yeah, it's good. So social factors can influence people to talk in 2 or more languages. Next, point B. Using the information provided in the section above, which varieties do you think Kalala will use? So, what Kalala used to talk to his younger brother at home? Meynirga? Do you know the answer?
I think Kalala will use his tribal language.
His tribal language.
Yes.
Do you know why?
Because they are speak to their family, so it based on their domain. So they use the language like mother language. So it's gonna be not weird, or it's gonna be what is that? It's not because they are not in a formal occasion, so they meet each other each day, so they are in the same home. Like, it's gonna be weird if they are using formal language to speak to each other.
Yes.
Right,
that's right.
Okay.
So Kalala used informal she because brother at home has the same ethnic. Okay, so they use informal she.
Yes.
Question number 2. Email plan the morning's activities with his best friend. What Kalalas would use this language? What
I think he uses Indubil because he talks with his best friend.
Yeah, he used Indubil because here we can underline the best friend karena teman sebaya, jadi he used Indubil. And the third, greet a stranger from a different tribe whom he met in the street. As I said before, that King Wana used when Kalala talks to younger children and to adults he meets in the streets. So we underline here in the street. So it's automatically the answer is King Wana. Okay. Okay, is everything clear?
Yes.
Okay. Any question? No? Okay. Okay, let's continue to the second example. Olvie, would you mind to read the example?
Example 2. Anahina is a bilingual Tongan New Zealander living in Auckland. At home with her family, she used Tongan almost exclusively for a wide range of topics. She often talks to her grandmother about Tongan customs, for instance. With her mother, she exchanged gossip about Tongan friends and relatives. Tongan is the language the family uses at meal times. They discuss what they have been doing, plan family outings, and share information about Tongan social events. It is only with her older sisters that she uses some English words when they are talking about school or doing their homework.
Okay, thank you, Olvie. So certain social factors who you are talking to, the social context of the talk, the function and topic of the discussion turn out to be important in accounting for language choice in many different kinds of speech community. It has proved very useful, particularly when describing code choice in large speech communities. To look at typical interaction which involve these factors, we can imagine, for instance, a typical factor interaction. It would be located in the setting of the home. The typical participants will obviously be family members. And typical topics would be family activities. Anahina's family's mealtime conversation described in example 2 illustrated this pattern well. A number of such typical interactions have been identified as relevant pattern of food choice in medicine. They are known as domains of language use, a term popularized by Joshua Fishman, an American social linguist. A domain involves a typical interaction between typical participants in typical settings. So in my summary, there are reasons why Anahina used these two languages. The first one, for your information, Auckland is part of New Zealand and people there commonly use English language. And then the second two, Tongan seems like a traditional language they use at mealtime, which is Tongan mostly used when Anahina in home. So that is the 2 points that I can summarize from this example. But why Anahina use English when she talks with her sister? Anybody knows about this case? Why? Why should she talk in English with her sister? Anybody? Email? Do you know why?
Because like us in the school, we use English like that. So she uses English.
Yes. Yeah. That is the same answer as me. Okay, so in New Zealand, we know that commonly people use English. So, so I think the homework use English also, and the context of the topic is about school or doing their homework, which is the domain language is English. Okay, so an example from me, I use Java language to talk with Japanese people, and when I am at home, I use Java also. However, when I do my homework with my sister, I use Indonesia because our homework use Indonesian language. So we need to change our language from Java to Indonesia. So we need to adapt the language from Java to Indonesia because the topic is about school or doing their homework. So anybody want to ask from the example 2? Any difficulties? No? Okay. So next from table 2.2 domains of language use. This is the domain in family. The others we talk to our parents. The setting at home. The topic is planning of family parts. So what do Anahina use to talk with his parents? Asking about planning a family party. Meynirga, would you mind to answer the variety code?
Okay, let me try. What about Tongan?
Yeah.
Tongan language?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think it's Tongan language
Yeah.
because they talk in home and she talk with her parents.
Yes.
It's the same ethnic, so they don't need to talk in English, right?
Yes.
And then friendship. She talked to her friend in the beach. how to play beach tennis. Olvie, would you mind?
I think they use English.
English? Why? Why she use English?
Because Anna talked to her sister. They use English, and the topics or the addressee is her friend.
Yeah. So I think the answer is similar with Olvie. She used English because her friend is not from her friend is not from the same ethnic. It can be from the other ethnic. So he used English to make it more general. Okay. And then the religion. She want to talk to the priest in the church, choosing the Sunday liturgy. Email?
I think they use English because in the church maybe they are from different tribal or ethnic, so they use English.
Yeah. So she need to talk in English to the priest. And then for the education, she wants to talk to her teacher in school, solving a math problem. I think she needs to talk in English because the context setting is in school. Like she asked to her sister, the topic is the same about schools and homework. And we got the same school topic here, solving a math problem. I think the answer is English. She needs to talk in English language. And then the domain is employment, addressee to employer in a workplace, applying for a promotion. To be polite, I think she needs to talk in English also. Is the different the status like we learned before that influence people to use multi-language, the status, right? So if she wants to be polite, she need to use English. Next to the exercise, fill the column labeled. No, we done yet. As a bilingual friend or neighbor, which language they would use in the different domains. It is used to guess in advance how they will answer and then check your prediction against their response. When you are wrong, see if you can identify the reason for your error. Jadi bertanya kepada teman dengan apakah as a bilingual friends or neighbor which language they would different to. So I want to ask to email. So jadi ketika kamu berada di lingkungan, apakah kamu menggunakan bahasa yang berbeda-beda tergantung dengan lingkungannya, tergantung dengan orang-orangnya, atau kamu tetap menggunakan bahasa yang sama?
Lingkungannya sendiri. Kalau kampus yang mana kita bukan di kelas, ya kita pakai menggunakan bahasa Indonesia itu. Tapi kalau dengan teman-teman yang udah kenal, mungkin lebih gunakan bahasa yang lebih bebas.
Yeah, I get it. So where are you from, Imal?
Where
are you from?
I'm from Batam.
So, what language you speak in Batam?
We speak Bahasa, but in Batam, some people use Melayu language, Bahasa Melayu.
So, you talk with your friend with Melayu in Batam?
No.
No? Oh. So, who when you use Melayu, which people you want to jadi ketika kamu menggunakan bahasa Melayu, kamu menggunakannya untuk berbicara dengan siapa?
Mungkin ketika I came to Melayu village like that, kampung Melayu. Jadi kalau misalnya kampung Melayu ya pasti kita menggunakan bahasa Melayu. Meskipun ya gitu nggak terlalu native lah.
So you commonly use bahasa in your okay. Anybody want to ask for the example 2? No? Nobody? Is everything clear? Okay. Next to the example 3. May, would you mind to read the example 3?
Okay, I read it from my laptop, yeah. So I'm not going to see you from my camera. In Paraguay, a small South American country, 2 languages are used. Spanish, the language of the colonizers, and Guarani, the American Indian indigenous language. People in Paraguay are proud that they have their own language, which distinguishes them from the rest of the South America. Many rural Paraguayans are monolingual in Guarani, but those who live in the cities are usually bilingual. They read Spanish literature, but they gossip in both Spanish and Guarani. Okay, that's all.
Okay, thank you, May. So I got 2 reasons from example 2 why Paraguayans use these 2 languages, Spanish and Guarani. The first is Spanish, the language of the colonizers, and people adapt using that language. Jadi menurutku ketika sama kasusnya ketika Indonesia dijajah oleh Belanda, banyak orang-orang Indonesia di perkotaan yang bisa menggunakan bahasa Belanda, tapi orang-orang di pedesaan masih menggunakan bahasa bahasa tradisional mereka, like Java, bahasa Jawa. So people in Paraguay adapt with the colonizers' language, Spanish one. And the second one, Guarani, is Paraguayans' traditional language, their own language. Jadi bahasa dasar mereka. Seperti yang saya contohkan tadi, bahasa Jawa adalah bahasa dasarnya orang Jawa. Kemudian Guarani used when people they read Spanish literature, but they gossip in both Spanish and Guarani. Jadi ketika mengobrol mereka bisa menggunakan bahasa Spanish dan juga bahasa Guarani. Jadi mereka bisa menggunakan 2 bahasa ini tergantung dengan siapa yang mereka ajak ngobrol. If you want to be polite, I think you are more general. You can use Spanish. But if you want to talk with your rural friends, you can use Guarani. That's it. So ketika kamu mau mengobrol dengan orang yang berbeda etnis dari kamu, mungkin dengan orang Batam, orang Batak, orang manapun, kamu bisa menggunakan bahasa Indonesia. Tapi ketika kamu berada dalam satu etnik yang sama, mungkin kamu bisa menggunakan bahasa daerahmu, seperti itu. Then let's see table 2.3. So the domain is family. The address is parents sitting at home. The topic, planning a family party. They use Guarani. Do you know why they use Guarani? Olvie, do you know why?
Yes, because it is their the domain is family, is his family, so, and the setting is in home, and the topic is planning a family party, so they use Guarani language.
Yeah. So because they are in the same ethnic, the close relation, the family. So they could use Guarani language. And then for friendship, they want to talk with their friends in a cafe. How to pronounce it? Cafe. The topic is funny anecdote. They also use Guarani. But here in education, why they also use Guarani in primary school, which is the teacher talk about telling the story. Do you know why the teacher used Guarani language? Why? Okay, so in my opinion, why the teacher used Guarani language? Because they want to be a personal, lebih antara antara murid dengan gurunya lebih dekat, lebih personal gitu. Jadi mereka menggunakan bahasa Guarani. Then so because the host say that we only have a few minutes, we move to the word wizard. What you find in the PDF. Do you want to sharing or just spoken?
I think to save our time, to say it, right? It's okay, or I have to.
Okay, it's okay if you want to be spoken.
Okay. So I get standard Swahili because I don't know, and maybe you also don't know about standard Swahili. So from this text, standard Swahili means one of the national languages and the language used in Bukavu for official transactions. So for my own words, I write like this is formal language that we can use as a lingua franca in Bukavu. So if we don't know their tribal or ethnic, maybe we can use standard Swahili because it's the national language. And then I try to find Kingwana because I don't know. Kingwana means a language that is used in the marketplace or the local variety of Swahili. So like
Oke, hai Om.
Aku record ya. Aku share screen dulu. Okay. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, let's continue to the word wizard.
Alpha, can you go down?
Okay, sorry.
Okay. So guys, I will continue our discussion. The next one is Kingwana. Kingwana means a language that is used in the marketplace or the local variety of Swahili. A person will use Kingwana when he or he meets younger children or adults in the street and also people in the marketplace. To make it simple, I use my own words. Like Alfa said before, it could be informal and formal language. So for me, Kingwana means informal or formal language that is usually used in public areas. So it's also related to the person that we want to talk like that. And then multilingual. Multilingual, to make it clear, it means the ability to speak more than one language or multiple language. Like that. Next. And then the next one is we have Kongo. Kongo means the tribal language in Bukavu. So we use Kongo to speak with the same tribal group or the same ethnic. So Kongo just like tribal language in Bukavu for people who have the same ethnic. And then we have Indobil. Indobil means informal language or another variety which can be used with their friends or young people in Bukavu. It's used like in group slang between young people in monolingual communities. So to make it simple, I define this word like the language of Bukavu's young people or young generation. So we use Indobil when we meet our friends or people that we really know. And then Garani. Garani means the American Indian indigenous language. Also, people who live in the rural areas, they can use Guarani. So my own definition is the language of indigenous people of Paraguay. Next. Right, the next one is domains. From the text, we know like domain is clearly a very general concept which draws on three important social factors in code choice, such as participants, setting, and topic. It's useful for capturing broad generalization about any speech community, or it could be defined patterns of code choice in many speech communities. And then I make this definition like the use of language based on the context, situation, and place. So the domain is based on the three important social factors. And then the next one is we have Hokkien. Hokkien is like another Chinese language in the smaller shops and for Singaporean. And then I define the word like the Chinese language that is mainly spoken. and I don't know how to pronounce this one. Maybe lekage. From the text, we know like lekage is using the language associated with those domains rather than the language of the. Can you go down, Alfa? Of the family domain. It's in some way irregular. The code associated with one domain is leaking into another. And then go up, Alpha. To make it simple, I use my own definition. So it can be defined like it's like code switching or discussing a topic without seeing where they are speaking. So lekage means when we speak in the home, we can talk about anything, school, work, or our friends. So it doesn't see our setting or our place. And then the next one is Tongan. Tongan means a native language of New Zealander living in Auckland. Also, Tongan can be defined as a culture and people. To make it simple, so I write it like Tongan can be represented as a culture, people, customs, and language. Okay, for the next question, we have how are they used in other contexts? For this one, standard Swahili, for this word, when I search on internet, I found this definition is based on the King Muja dialect. So it's different from our text and also the context. And then Kingwana, I don't find the different thing on internet about Kingwana. So Kingwana means a dialect of Kiswahili or Swahili. Kiswahili and Swahili, it's like tribal or ethnic. And then multilingual, the same situation in which a new language is learned and replaces the first language. And Kongo, quite different. It could be a member of an indigenous people inhabiting the region of the Congo River in the West Central Africa. And the next one, Indoville, it could be the language is spoken in a conversation with peers. The same, right? So on internet, we couldn't find the different thing about Indoville, Kingwana, and this one, multilingual. And domains could be into another context, like is a particular field of thought, activity, or interest, especially one over which someone has control, influence, or rights. Example, for example, I make this sentence. This information should be in the public domain. So it's like quite different for our context. And then the next one, we have Hokkien. Hokkien, for another context, we have a very colorful and impactful dialect when used in the hands of the highly skilled exponents of the dialect. And then the next one is lekage. Lekage, it has a lot of meaning from internet. So lekage means the act or process or an instance of leaking. And then the next one is Tongan. Tongan could be different. So from the internet, we got the Polynesian language of Tonga, like that. I think that's all from word wizard. So the next slide will be explained by Olvie.
Okay, thank you, Emil, for these difficult words, and you explained it well. So the next is the inspector. Please explain what you got from the PDF file.
Okay, next inspector. The first one is points out key issues in the text. So there are several key issues that I found. And the first one is the kinds of social factors are the factors that influence how people choose one code rather than another. Like we can see from the example number 1, we can know that the factors that lead Kalala to use one code rather than another one are the kinds of social factors. The social factors are the characteristic of the participants or the person he is talking. And the second one, certain social factors turn out to be important in accounting for language choice in many different kinds of the speech community. So the social factors are who you are talking to, the social context of the talk, the language, the function and the topic of the discussion. And the third one is the situation make people choose one language they should use. So the situation that around the people influence how multilingual people choose their language. And the next one is a model describes which code or codes are usually selected from use in different situation. It is a little bit or quite same with the third one. So from a model, we can know which domains or varieties are relevant to language choice, and an explicit model is useful is that it provides a clear basis for comparing patterns or code choice in different speech communities. And from a model, we can know what should we choose. If the model does not do that, so it needs to be modified. Like a model is so useful to a newcomer in a community. And as a summary of the appropriate patterns of codes used in the community. So the model like the role model of the community. And the next one, people may select a particular variety or code because it makes it easier to discuss a particular topic regardless of where they are speaking. So like we can see from the examples number 2 and 3, they choose their language because of the particular topic, like when they speak about homework or education, they use English in their school. They use English, so when they discuss their homework, they use English. And when they're at home with her mother or grandmother, they can use their tribal language like that. And the specific social factors become the factors in multilingual communities to choose their language in different situations. And the last one, models can usefully go beyond the social factors summarized in the domain concept to take account of social dimensions such as social distance, strangers versus friend, relative status or role, doctor with patient, degrees of formality, formal wedding ceremony versus lunchtime chat, and the function or goal of interaction. And the second, discuss why they are essential for language learners or teachers. They are essential for language learners and teachers because from that we can know the factors that influence us in our use of language, especially multilingual community or person, or how the multilingual person choosing their variety or code. And the third topic from inspector is preparing three critical questions to be discussed. The first one is, after we know the factors that influence multilingual people to choose their code or language, what is the most factors that influence multilingual people? And the second one, from figure 2.1, can you explain the function of the diagram and how to use it? And the last, from table 2.3, why and how it use different language, whereas the domain is the same, and what makes it different. And I also provide the tables. And that's all from me.
Okay, thank you for Olvie as the inspector. Next, the connector. May, please explain what you got.
Okay. Hi everyone, it's May speaking, and my role today is as connector. So the first question for the connector is, what other sources, one or two, are relevant with the text, and how are they relevant? So I got two sources here. The first one is from the repertoire language, and the second one is from the qualitative research. And you guys may check it by yourself. And how are they relevant for me? It is relevant because the web tell more about the train of the language, domains where the language is used, and the context of the language repertoire itself. So yeah. And then the next is the image that I use to comprehend our knowledge about these topics. The first one, as you can see, there is a picture of a person with many different colors in their body. As you can see, the yellow one is for English. The green one, the person speak Dutch and English, and also Japanese and Spanish, French, Russian, and Portuguese. So we can conclude that the person here is speaking many languages. So same with the context of language repertoire, that it's about multilingualism, right? And then the next is about the outcome of language repertoire. The outcome of language repertoire is affected by many different social factors. The first one, as in the picture, age. Age can be one of the factor that can affect someone's language. As we have told before, that when we are talking to someone who is older than us, we will use polite language, right? And then the next is level of education and learning variable. Sometimes when we meet our seniors in the university, we will pay attention to them and talk to them politely, as we appreciate them to be our seniors, like that. And the next is repertoire typology of the recipient area. I don't know exactly what is this, but in my understanding, it means that it based on where the person came from and the area they came from, like that. And then the next is language repertoire at the beginning of mobility. I'm also not really sure about this, but anyone have any idea about it? I still including this picture to our journal because, okay, wait guys. For the disruption, my home is too loud and crowd. I'm sorry for that. Okay, I will continue. The next is the language repertoire at the beginning of mobility. I don't have any idea of it, but I still including this picture because I think it's still important for us because some of the points here are related with our topics and the outcome is important too. The outcome of language repertoire is important and the effect of the social effect that related with the outcome of language repertoire is one of the most important for me. And then the next is language distance, just like what Miss Truly said at uh, at at the end of our Zoom meeting few minutes ago. It is about when we meet strangers and we meet someone that we haven't met before. We will talk to them with based on our formal language or our national language or the language that we usually use for to talk with strangers, like that. Okay, Alpha, can you go down? Okay, the next is this is the example for one of the person who make a diagram of his language repertoire use. So in his language repertoire, he proficiencies in English, French, and native languages. So he is multilingualism, and then desire linguistic representation. So he is eager to learn more about the linguistic representation, like the way we use the language as a native or some kind of that. For example, like when his mother language is English, but the second language is French, so he like to know more about how people speak in French like a native, something like that. And then the prestige of okay, can you go down, Alpha? Okay, as we can see, there are two girls here. The first one is the expression with the set expression, and there are two language, English and French. And the next one is the girl with the smile, and the language repertoire with the purple color one. We can conclude from the picture that language with linguistic repertoire is happy because they can acquire new language easily, and those who are not capable to speak and master to language will feel sad because they are not that is not of their league. So we should be grateful because we can speak both Indonesian and English. So we are also a linguistic repertoire. And then next, can you go down? Okay, this is also one of the example that I got from someone. So she is Melissa Cannons, as we can see. She born and lived in Southampton, and their parents also born and live in Southampton. There are also mainstream schooling in urban areas, or I think it's about media, and then socially influence from friends. So her language are influenced by many factors or social factors such as told in the diagram. Okay, And then the last question, how can I help my friends to understand the text better through the image? Well, I'm not sure. I'm not that sure that it will help you that and it's quite easy for us to understand the diagram, right? So that's why I put it at our journal. And the image is quite simple to be understood. It explains the concept of language repertoire in general, so by understanding the concept, I guess you all will easily read the deeper meaning on the text. Okay, thank you. That's all from the connector.
Okay, thank you guys for sharing about your role, what you got from the topic, and see you for the next topic. Thank you.